According to CBS News polling, President Biden is losing support among black voters in Georgia. That's compared to how he did in 2020. He still has a commanding lead over former President Trump among this key voting bloc, but waning support from them in a battleground state could have major ramifications for the general election. Our Torian Small sat down with several black male voters in the state who are backing Republicans. So, Torian, this is a fascinating conversation. I'm so eager to see what you learned from them. Why are these voters that you spoke to inclined to some conservative ideas?
Yeah, so two things, Caitlin. I met with canvassers with the New Georgia Project. It's a left-leaning black voter advocacy group in the state, and they're telling me that they're seeing young black men be more open to considering Trump because they are the targets of misinformation. Part of that is the accomplishments or opportunities or these perceived opportunities for that community is being attributed to Trump in their minds wrongly instead of Biden or even Obama. But this group of black conservative men I sat down with said that they want to buck the idea that black men have to belong to the Democratic Party. Here's a bit of our conversation.
I think that there's a misnomer, there's a social fallacy that surrounds the view that because the vast majority of black men voted for the Democrat Party, that there isn't a lot of conservative values there. Black men are very much looking for their opportunity to do it on their own, and they're not looking for necessarily for government to deliver something to them.
That's 41-year-old Azad Ahmadi. He was actually an Obama-Trump voter.
Oh,
he
interesting.
flipped in 2016, and that's really his introduction to this conservative movement there. But again, they're looking to reject the idea that black people have to come home to the Democratic Party in November.
Yeah, that's fascinating to see that transformation. You mentioned that you spoke to a liberal-leaning group about black voters, but you've also spoken to the Republican Party about their outreach to black voters. What are they doing? What did they tell you?
Well, so there's a clear disparity in outreach efforts post 2022. We've seen a lot of those community centers or outreach centers shutter after 2022 happened. In Atlanta, I went to a center in College Park, just right outside of Atlanta. It was the African American Community Center there that closed down, and nothing has replaced it. I talked to the same conservative group about that. If they see that as a problem, this is what they had to say. Do you think Republicans are doing enough outreach in black communities?
We can do a better job.
We have an opportunity to get a message out, and we're doing everything that we can to take advantage of that opportunity.
This is something the Biden campaign is seizing on. They have a pretty expansive network for outreach specifically, but as we saw with Vice President Harris today, they're looking to target black men as part of this tour that they're rolling out and started to roll out in Georgia today.
Yeah, with Harris in Georgia. I mean, on that note, again, we mentioned that he's still leading among this group, but it's not a monolithic group at all. What is the Biden campaign doing to try to reach those voters, kind of knowing that that support has been waning a bit?
They're looking to be message heavy, right? So part of what I talked about with the New Georgia Project, their biggest concern was the fact that they believe black voters aren't necessarily attributing some of the successes or advancements in the community to the Biden campaign, which is why we see Harris out in the campaign today. I talked to a campaign spokesperson, Michael Tyler, from the Biden-Harris campaign. This is what he had to say about the job of messaging moving forward.
Yeah, well, I'd say this is exactly what a campaign is for, right? To relentlessly communicate, do the outreach, talk to voters day in and day out from now until Election Day. That's exactly what this campaign is doing. That's why we made the earliest and largest investment in reaching black voters going all the way back to August of last year, right? Running ads in places like Atlanta, Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, making sure that we are directly talking about that record of accomplishment.
And they're doing this type of outreach through the coordination of both state and local Democratic parties. On the Republican side, like we talked about, that outreach is really depending heavily on these ancillary groups like the Georgia Black Republican Council, like the Black Conservative Federation. They don't have the infrastructure they once had to do the comprehensive outreach to the black community that they used to.
So some ground to make up here, but still those numbers, I'm sure, startling for Democrats. key voting bloc in a key state. Thank you for covering it for us, Torian. Thank you so much. That was great. Great to see that interview.